Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. It's been another week of W action. We just got off of recording our Chicago Sky feature that will be out shortly after this one. But before... But yeah, Kristen and I are here to talk about an interesting week in the WNBA. A lot of other things outside of the team that we followed happened that we want to talk about, that we got to get to. But before we get into all the details, Kristen, how are you doing? You're laughing.
I'm great. I'm excited to be here. Don't let John fool you. He was just being a little Debbie Downer right before we started
I wouldn't say Debbie Downer.
Yes.
Kristen said to me before we started recording this that there's so much news to talk about. And maybe that's true.
Uh-huh.
And maybe that's true. And I'm going to let her
It's
cook.
just stats. It's just facts. It's just headlines. Why can't we talk?
We're just attacking the baseline.
Yes.
I get it. I understand. But we're bringing that to you. If you're new here to Attack the Baseline, welcome. Thank you for listening to learning about the W. We've got plenty of knowledge that we're learning and accruing over the season that we're happy to share with you. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or follow us on our Twitter at @ATBpod_. Go out there, 5-star reviews, positive ratings. Show us your love. Show us how much you enjoy the W. And we're happy to bring you more content every single week. Mm-hmm. On the docket, we've got a couple new unrivaled players, I should say, to join the league. We've got major upsets around the league that are shaking up the table.
We're clowned.
Kristen loves to say we're clowned.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a bunch of records that we're following and we're going to be checking out. Mm-hmm. So, from the top, unrivaled, we've got 2 new players this week that were joining the 30-player league that will be playing in Miami in January. 3-on-3 basketball. Who do we got?
We have Natasha Cloud, who her clue was a minion being shot into outer space.
Not a minion being shot into outer space.
What?
A rocket that passed a minion that was on the way to outer space.
Okay, fine. That was her clue.
A rocket that was shot from the White House.
Yeah.
To Mercury.
Okay, so I guess she went from the Mystics to the Mercury. That was Natasha Cloud.
Yes.
And then Skylar Diggins-Smith.
Yes. Whose clue?
Whose clue was Mario.
Frickin' Mario.
And then a trench coat.
Not Mario in a trench coat. Mario became a trench coat.
Yeah.
A particularly iconic trench coat that I was unaware of. Have you seen? You've seen the pictures of
her
of SDS walking into one of the games with
sure
a trench coat and a Starbucks coffee.
I'm sure I have. I don't recall them.
It's a pretty cool look. She does kind of look like a spy.
I guess that's her signature look.
I don't know if she's done it multiple times, but I was like, I said WNBA player, trench coat, and bang.
Oh.
She came up.
Okay.
I was like, oh.
So
okay.
Good clue then.
It was a good clue. I mean, it was a pretty obvious clue because it was a single piece of iconic clothing, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But better than a minion in space.
Yeah. That one got us.
Yeah, well, we don't have the background of knowing that Natasha Cloud went from Washington to Phoenix between the last several seasons.
Yeah.
We should know because Natasha Cloud is, of course, an area icon in Philadelphia. But our bad, Tosh.
Yeah. Okay, so that's unrivaled. We're ramping up for this league, but we still have like half the players to announce.
13 more to go.
They kind of have to like pick it up a little bit.
It might be time to rev it up.
Yeah.
But maybe this week we get another 5.
Maybe.
It used to be every day, but I guess you have to kind of dial it back because you don't want to, lose the excitement.
Yeah, you don't want to kill the momentum.
No.
So that's unrivaled. We'll definitely do a preview of it before it starts in January.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's going to be, we're going to know more. Right now we only have the one Q&A that Fee did on Twitter.
We don't really know much. She said the games will be easy to stream and it's going to be different from the 3-on-3 that was in the Olympics.
That's all we know.
Really all we know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So why I say that we're clowned. I've been clowned a lot lately.
I'll be in the other room and Kristen will just yell, "We're clowned. We're clowned." I'm like, why? Why are we clowned?
Many other reasons other than this. A lot of Taylor Swift's reputation.
That's you.
Yeah, you were clowned hard on it too.
Because I said that it was going to drop when Kanye said that Rihanna had the best album or whatever it was. Was it Rihanna? Beyonce?
Yeah, Beyonce.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought it was going to be on the anniversary of that.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
Okay. Well, we were clowned because we think, of course, these bottom teams are playing to get Paige Beckers. Mm-hmm. Well, for whatever reason, they are not.
One of them will.
One of them will get her, but it won't be because they're trying.
Big week of upsets that shook up the bottom of the table, as I already said.
Yeah, the Mystics beat the Storm and the Sky, who I guess at this point are the Sky. Stay tuned for our Sky coverage, but at this point are the Sky, better than the Mystics, I don't think. But they're above in the standings.
Technically above in the standings, yeah.
So that's an upset. The Wings, who are covering next week, beat the Aces and the Lynx. So those were, big upsets. Mm-hmm. And then the Sparks beat the Liberty.
The bottom team beating the top team.
Why are you doing that?
And just looking at it right now as it stands on the 2nd of September, if we look at the bottom of the league, so if we go past Phoenix and look at the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, going from the bottom up, Sparks are 7-25. Mm-hmm. They have done a pretty good job, besides that one win in New York, of staying down there. Mm-hmm. And it's starting to look like they have separated themselves a bit. Mm-hmm. And then you have Dallas and Washington tied 9-23. I think I may have been right about Dallas trying to surge with Satu coming back to try to take that 8 seed. And then
you think they can make it?
I absolutely think they can make it because all they got to do is get past Chicago and Atlanta, who are tied at 11-21. Mm-hmm. So all those teams have 8 games to play.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Fighting over a single 8 seed. Chicago losing 6 in a row is huge for this race.
No, Chicago's dumb.
Huge. Well, we have an idea about why they're losing these games. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really a 2-horse race, personally. Maybe I'm clowning myself again, between Atlanta and Dallas for that 8 seed. Mm-hmm. I do not believe that Chicago's going to stay there.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Washington is going to actually move up there either.
Okay.
I think that it's a 2-horse race here, and with the advantage to Atlanta having 2 games up.
And Shakira Austin got hurt again.
Correct.
So she's out again.
Or is it a phantom injury? Woo!
All I'm saying is you can check back when we covered the Liberty. I said they play down. Perhaps that won't stick in the playoffs.
They can only play down. Because
they can win every game.
Sure.
They cannot lose.
That's fair. That's fair.
They have a track record of losing to teams at the bottom. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if it comes up to be Dallas versus the Liberty in the playoffs when Dallas is better than their record. That'd be spicy.
That is such a good first round matchup.
Yeah.
That I would love to see. I think that is the most interesting 1-8 that you could. It's certainly more interesting than New York, sweeping the sky, or New York losing 1 to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough firepower. Maddie Siegrist is coming back.
She should be back already. Is she not?
I haven't heard of her being back. I know that she
Okay.
was back. Maybe she was back and then was out and maybe came back. They've got the pieces to maybe hurt. Not particularly. I wouldn't be so nervous about New York losing.
No.
But
they'll have to fight for it.
So that as it stands right now, let's say it would be New York versus Chicago if the season ended today. Again, we're saying Chicago, it's not going to be, so it'd either be Atlanta or Dallas. Then looking at some of the other matchups, Phoenix versus the Sun, pretty interesting. The Fever, they're surging. They could end in a 4 or the 5 seed at this point with how hot they've been. Winning 4 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. They right now would draw Minnesota, which would be an interesting matchup in itself. I feel like Minnesota would still manage them pretty well, but the Fever, as hot as they are and as quick as they are, they could be trouble for real.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I've said this to myself, if the Fever, get the right matchup, the Fever can absolutely win around
The Storm.
I don't see how they would end up drawing the Storm, because of the way that the Storm and the Aces are in this 4-5 spot. The Aces would need to fall behind the Fever, and that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So right now it could be Aces Fever. The Fever could pass the Storm.
Mm-hmm.
That could be possible. But right now Aces and Storm probably doesn't have as much juice as some of the other ones, but I guess Aces Fever might be pretty wild if you're.
Yes.
And especially considering that, head coach Becky Hammond is saying that the Aces defense has not been up to snuff. Mm-hmm. You get a high caliber offense like Indiana with players like Caitlin, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, Melissa Smith, Aaliyah Boston, players who can score the basketball. Mm-hmm. Could be a problem for a team, even if they have the best player in the universe, in Asia Wilson.
One player does not mean the whole team.
We shouldn't say that it's only one player.
Well, the other night, Asia had over 40 points, and they lost.
Yeah. And then the next night, she had 41, 17, and they won.
Yeah.
And I said, please tell me they won. They won.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Fever then. You already named everybody.
Talk about the Fever. Stats.
The Fever are for sure the hottest team since coming back from the Olympic break. They won 4 in a row. Today passed the Aces in, I think it was ESPN's power rankings, mm-hmm. which is pretty interesting.
Insane. I find it frankly pretty shocking.
I mean, it's for the clicks.
Yeah.
That was the headline.
Yeah.
Fever past the Aces, whatever. But there's some merit to it. These players are hot.
Yeah.
Lexi Hall, since returning from the Olympics, is shooting 70% from 3.
Woo.
Crazy.
Woo.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm. You're truly a bench hero.
Yeah.
Was not expecting that from her, but hey.
Nobody. Kelsey Mitchell has over 20 points in the past 7 games.
Yeah. She's one of the hottest scorers. She might be leading the league in points per game since the return from All-Star. Either 1 or 2, which that is great to see and truly shows, just how good she was. And I don't think we quite knew that when we first looked at the Fever so early in the season. We obviously knew she was an all-star player, but to see that she's got this type of offensive firepower and the way that Caitlin is able to set her up through her passing makes it so much easier.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't have said that she was an all-star. Before the all-star break,
You probably
I
wouldn't
was
have
like,
thought it. No.
why is Kelsey Mitchell on this all-star team?
Mm.
They said that she was one of the players that the coaches pushed to be on the all-star team, didn't get votes to be on it. But since then,
yeah,
flowers to her.
Hell yeah.
She for sure deserves it.
Hell yeah.
And then Caitlin has just been going off.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk about records in a minute, but Caitlin is scoring more points on a higher efficiency than Candace Parker when she was a rookie.
Yeah.
Caitlin is averaging 18.7 points on 59% efficiency.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's been a top 5 player since after the break. In the entire league. Easy. She might be top 3. Like, she is the reason that this Fever team is doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, maybe we didn't expect this, but we probably should have expected this.
Well, based on how horrible they started the season, it didn't seem like it was going to get like this.
Maybe go back and listen to what we had to say about Indiana in week 3.
Yeah, we were clowned.
It has to be clowned. We were clowned.
Yeah. And the Fever now are 500 for the first time since 2015.
Whee!
So good for them.
Almost a decade of mediocre to poor basketball in Indiana.
Which is why, you'll hear our Sky talk, but it's, why, we really just need 1 or 2 good players to turn the whole team around.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to, stick it out with these teams that are bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And then all it takes, Aaliyah Boston, Alyssa Smith, back-to-back years. The second overall pick, the first overall pick, and they're still in a position to get Caitlin Clark, who looks to be as generational as expected.
Yeah.
Things are only going to look up in Indiana. I would not be shocked if they have pieces there for a very long time.
No, honestly, I feel like, in the midst of everything that's going to happen the next coming years, I think this team whatever input the players have, I feel like they'd want to stay together. Mm-hmm. They seem like they're having a great time. Mm-hmm. So that's something to consider.
We'll see.
Okay, we can talk about records that we're watching.
Yes, record watch. Kristen's got a number of metrics.
One was Angel Reese breaking the rebounds. She did that. She broke, it's rebounds per game?
Rebounds per game and total rebounds.
And total rebounds.
Yes.
She broke total rebounds. As a rookie and all time. So good for Angel.
Pretty crazy. Obviously, 2 back-to-back 20 rebound games. First time that's ever happened ever in the WNBA. She did it as a rookie. Mm-hmm. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Asia Wilson is looking to break the all-time scoring record. Scoring per game.
Do you know what she needs for that?
Well, this was almost 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
But she is on pace already to break it, averaging 26.89 points per game.
And this was before she had 2 40-point games.
Yeah.
So
correct.
Odds are she's, improved on that number.
And the record holder currently is Diana Taurasi, 25.29. Mm-hmm. So Asia will break the scoring record. Mm-hmm. Caitlin Clark is toying with breaking the assists record.
Yes. Well, the overall there's the assists per game record and the overall assist record. These are owned by 2 different people. Mm-hmm. As we found out. Assists, all-time assists leader Alyssa Thomas with 316 in a season, and then the assist per game leader comes from the 2020 season where Courtney Vandersloot averaged just under 10 assists per game through 22 games before. Or I guess that was 2020 season. That was only 22 games because of COVID.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, that's the trouble with all this is every year they play a different number of games. So you have to look at averages per game, but then there's also totals. It's a little confusing.
Right.
But basically, Caitlin needs only 41 assists for the season record.
Yes. That would put her at 317 on the season.
Yeah.
In 7 games. Just under 6 assists per game. Seems very likely that she shatters that.
Yep. And then she needs 123 assists to break the per game record. Which
would require 17.6 assists per game. Will not be.
Okay, that's probably
will not be done.
No.
But does not mean that next year, the year after that.
Oh, for sure.
Year after that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it helps to have players like Kelsey Mitchell and players like Lexi Hull who are shooting crazy, crazy numbers.
Yes.
It helps your assist totals a lot. If you have players that are going to miss shots on those passes that you get them, then you're going to struggle.
Right.
But, Caitlin's only going to get better at this. And passing, she's already maybe the best passer in the league. Maybe second only to Chelsea Gray. So, it would be hard to say that she won't eventually break that record too and average more than 10 assists per game in a season, which is rare even in the NBA. So, very cool.
Arike Agumbawale is on pace to break minutes per game.
Which is a silly stat. Oh, congratulations, you played the most minutes because...
Well, it's still a record.
Yeah. I mean, probably not a fun record.
No.
Probably an exhausting record.
Yeah, probably. Right now she has 38.4 minutes per game. She's playing the whole game.
Yeah.
But a very exciting season. All these records are being broken or are almost being broken. That's what you love to see. It's exciting. It's fun. Especially by these rookies that are already breaking records. So, it's great.
It is. The most eyes on viewership numbers up. Things we talked about every single week, and things are happening that are, firsts, records being broken. This is what people want to see.
Asia as well is 121 points away from the W's first 1,000 point season.
Wow. That's awesome. I do wonder if if the W has it in them to have a 30 point per game scorer. That would be something. It's never been done. Obviously, she's going to break the record as it stands for this year, but it would be so cool for Asia, who's just entering her prime, to be truly the greatest scorer that the league has ever seen. And that means that she could break DT's all-time, point total.
Oh, for sure.
Odds are, feels like, past Tina Charles, who, number 2 there.
Well, I love that you just brought up those 2 players because Diana Taurasi has the most 20-point games after turning 40.
That's a good one.
But over people in the NBA too, over Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Dang.
23 20-point games.
That's pretty sick. Good on DT.
Yes. And then Tina Charles had her first triple-double.
I mean, LeBron, though. Whatever.
Why? How many does LeBron have?
Oh, LeBron's only 39.
Okay.
But...
Okay.
We'll see.
As it stands, that's what's happening. Tina Charles had her first triple-double this week.
Nice.
There's
her first ever triple-double?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
I know. And I looked up, how many triple-doubles there have been. Really before 2022-ish, there were, barely any triple-doubles in the W. But Alyssa Thomas has had a bunch. So, basically, other than Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark, who had one this year, and I presume will have many more. It's just not a very long list of W players who've had triple doubles. So all the props to Tina Charles for doing that, especially after not playing last year.
Mm-hmm.
She could have had a very rocky season.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very exciting.
Things love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that all the records?
Oh, yeah, that was all the records.
Great. I want to go through one last thing that is kind of interesting that's happened over the last couple days. The Phoenix Mercury have kind of been bitten by the technical foul bug.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen all of the technical fouls that they've accrued?
No, I have not.
So I have notifications set for Underdog WNBA, which is where I get a lot of my transaction notifications.
Mm-hmm.
But now they started to post about suspensions and technical fouls. And this is just from within the last, within the last 24 hours. So Natasha Cloud, who we've already mentioned on this pod,
mm-hmm.
Picked up her 7th technical in a game last night. And will be suspended on Tuesday unless it is rescinded. Her 7th technical foul in the season that automatically earns you a suspension.
Mm-hmm.
In this same game, Diana Taurasi picked up her 7th technical foul of the season and will be suspended on Tuesday unless it's rescinded. Kalia Copper received her 6th technical foul on the season. She won't be suspended, but would be.
Who are they playing?
You check it out.
What was going on in that game?
And that was the notification as of 22 hours ago as we're recording this. But 1 hour ago, Diana Taurasi had that 7th technical rescinded.
What?
She will not be suspended, but Tosh Cloud will in fact be suspended on the 7th for the technical foul that she received.
Okay, I guess we have to see a clip of it.
Yeah, we did not check out this game. I know friend of the podcast Laura said, actually it was listener Tim and friend of the podcast Laura were talking to one another in a chat that we're in, and somebody said, how are you able to root for a player that draws so many technical fouls or something along the lines? And Laura said, well, it's pretty easy considering she's the number one Diana Taurasi stan that we know. And then Tim, who's a Golden State Warriors fan, posted a gif of one Draymond Green, who, as we know, is, maybe the number one technical foul guy in the NBA. So 2 fans of our pod that love players that receive technical fouls, and that's okay. It's okay to root for those players that struggle with the technical foul bug.
I don't
because
mind.
Sometimes they're just dogs, and they gotta go. They just gotta say what they're saying.
They're just passionate.
They're just passionate about what to say.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. This is maybe a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
If Diana Taurasi was like, we cannot both be suspended on the same day.
I mean, they can. Yeah, both of their guards.
Yeah. So take it away. I'm sure she'll have another one in these next however many games they have. So I'm sure she will be suspended a game.
Mm-hmm.
But.
And one last piece of news before we go. Queen Egbo, congratulations on signing a 7-day with the Aces.
With the Aces? Oh, yay.
Queen back.
Good for her.
Queen stays queen. That's all I have. Do you have anything else for the news roundup?
Can I check?
I will let you check.
Oh, Sabrina Ionescu has 56 consecutive games making a 3-pointer.
Pretty good.
That's the second longest streak in WNBA history.
Pretty good.
So that's a record.
That's a record.
She could pass that.
Let her cook.
I don't know what the record is, but...
Consecutive 3 points.
Yep.
And one that you missed, Arike Ogunbowale tied the single number of threes in a game, made threes in a game with 9 just the other night in a loss for Dallas against Indiana. But still, 9 is the number. Arike is the type of player that I could see getting 10.
10, that'd be crazy.
10 in a game?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's not that crazy.
No?
Happens enough.
Clearly not.
happens enough in the NBA, and for a player like Enrique that just keeps chucking.
And then plays 40 minutes.
Correct.
Eventually, it'll happen.
These are the things. Like, I think it's there are a number of records that can be surpassed still with 7 games to go, 8 games to go for some of these teams. And we're going to keep on following. And if they get broken, we're going to let you know about it because that's what we like to do here at Attack the Baseline. We love to learn and we love to find out about things that in just our first year of watching, things that are broken, things that are past, things that are shattered.
Yeah, and I feel like, before we started watching, before we became fans of the W, really everything I heard about the league was like, oh, there's like 2 or 3 good teams that have any chance of winning, and like everybody else is bad and not, boring. And
it's not boring.
That's not the case. I mean, I guess it could have been, the Liberty, obviously, the Liberty, the Aces, the Lynx are great teams, but there's so many other good teams. The Fever have a ton of potential. Obviously the Sun, the Storm are all up there. This is not like a case of one team is going to win. I have no idea what's going to happen in the playoffs.
And it's such a wonderful thing.
Yep.
It's so good. It's so good that everybody says this is what it is, and the whole paradigm is shifted now that we are following the W. This is the Attack the Baseline effect. Trademark.
Perhaps.
But another week of WNBA in the books. We will be back next week to talk about more WNBA news. I'm sure something else exciting will happen. And we're also going to be talking about the Dallas Wings, who are the newly revamped and surging. Dallas Wings trying to take that 8th seed. But until then, Kristen, I'm looking at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the Baseline. Thank you so much for listening. Again, email us, attackthebaselinegmail.com. Follow us on our Twitter at ATBpod_. But until then, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.